It's 901.
It's 901.
You are listening to Cool FM, live from Cool Studios. This is Cool News Primetime.
From the new studio of Cool FM, live at Cool Studios. From Cool News Primetime, I'm Dream Karaoke. Tonight supposedly is October 9. It's Wednesday. It's now 9:02 and tapping our news for tonight. Partido Federal United Bangsamoro Bets in Lanao del Sur filed COCs. Candidates of the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas United Bangsamoro Justice Party in Lanao del Sur filed their certificates of candidacy on Tuesday, and the party was led by Roland Abdul Rashid A. Macarambon for governor. Meanwhile, other candidates by the following: Marjani Makasalong for vice governor, Rehan Batlao for 2nd District Congressman, and lawyer Faisal Tago for provincial board member. Meanwhile, Commissioner Elections Provincial Election Supervisor Elise Miguel said there are 3 other candidates for governor: incumbent Governor Amintal Adyong Jr. of Lakas CMD, Norhaida Adyong of the Workers and Peasant Party, and the Mapundang Makapundag, which is an independent filing for independent. Meanwhile, 2 others are running for vice governor, which is incumbent vice governor Muhammad Khalid Alyong, which is Lakas CMD, and Mansani Mimbalawag, which is People's Party. Meanwhile, 1st District Representative Calib Kibranza Dimaporo filed his COC for Lanao del Norte governor on October 8. Meanwhile, Khalid seeks to succeed his mother, Governor Imelda Angging Dimaporo, who is on her 3rd final term. Governor Dimaporo filed a COC for his son's congressional post. Her daughter, 2nd District Representative Siti Amina Dimaporo, is also seeking re-election. And somewhere in Iligan City, re-electionist Iligan City Representative Celso G. Regencia of the United Iligan Party Coalition filed his COC along with mayoral candidate retired Lieutenant Colonel Leonie Roy Ga. Running mate Ernest Oliver Wekwek Uy and candidates for City Council. Also running for congressman are Graciano Mijares, Oscar Badelies, Manny Salibay, and Sigrid Espina. Meanwhile, other candidates for mayor are re-electionist Frederick W. Xiao, Rolando Anduyan, Franklin Quijano. For vice mayor are Marianito Dodong Alemania and Yamar Vera Cruz, which are a total of 45 individuals are running for councilor. And coming from Comelec, that there are 3 areas said that COC filing was also generally peaceful. And aside from that, from ASEAN, and that's coming from Marcos, to formulate new strategies to address Myanmar situation. Admitting that the situation in Myanmar has not changed despite the 5-point consensus, President Marcos barred that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations is trying to formulate new strategies to address the situation. In an interview on the sidelines of the 45th ASEAN Summit on Wednesday, Marcos talked briefly about the situation in Myanmar, which he said that has not changed despite the 5-point consensus. He also said that the position of the Philippines on the situation in Myanmar remains the same. He disclosed that the ASEAN has been looking into ways to move forward and formulate new strategies to address the situation in Myanmar. According here to Marcos, the position of the Philippines remains the same. We are firmly behind the ASEAN proposal of 5-point consensus, and we are trying to find ways to move forward because We have to admit that although the 5-point had been out there since Brunei, we have not been very successful in actually changing the situation, so we are trying to formulate new strategies. Marcos said about a 5-point consensus serves as ASEAN's guidance in responding to Myanmar's crisis, which called for the immediate cessation of violence in Myanmar, exercise of utmost restraint for all parties, constructive dialogue to seek a peaceful solution, and humanitarian assistance as priorities. Like what he intended to do prior to flying to Laos, Marcos said he brought up the maritime issues and multiple claims in the South China Sea during his intervention at the summits. Although he did not specify the details, he said in an interview on Wednesday that he brought up the South China Sea issues during the ASEAN retreat session. And yes, according here to Marcos, I didn't specify the details, but it is just the general principle of the adherence to the rule of law and to the UNCLOS or UNCLOS, which is the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. So just a general tip. We will have a chance to get into the more detail maybe in the next couple of days. Marcos said the Philippines adheres to the 1982 UNCLOS in the 2016 Arbitral Award in its efforts to address the managed disputes and tensions with China. And of course won the case against China in the 2016 Arbitral Award that declared Beijing's claims in the South China Sea have no legal basis. China, however, did not recognize the ruling and continued to harass Philippine vessels in staking their claim in the region. Plus, Cebu City Mayor Junks Rama's Singapore-like slogan. Michael Rama is gone as the city's mayor along with a favorite but controversial slogan. Shortly after he took his oath as the city's full-fledged chief executive on Wednesday, Mayor Raymond Alvin Garcia announced that the city government will adopt the Singapore-like Cebu City tagline. While is it good to aspire to become a progressive city like Singapore, Cebu has to create its own identity. That's coming from Garcia. And according to here, in fact, we have a longer history as a civilization compared to Singapore. So that is something I feel that has to be changed. And that Singapore-like vision was conceptualized by Rama, and it was evolved into Singapore-like Cebu City with Melbourne features and Taiwan training. And the tagline would be promoted every time Rama was in a public event. And he said that a Singapore-like Cebu City jingle was also composed and would be played and performed during the traditional Monday flag raising ceremonies at the City Hall. It was met with criticism, and one of the vocal critics was Cebu Governor Gwendolyn Garcia, which is the nephew of the governor, and would prefer to have something that would promote the city. Like, I want Cebu City to have its own identity, and according here, that Cebu City isn't Singapore. It was not been using the slogan since Rama was suspended by the Office of the Ombudsman last May 8. The suspension stemmed from the cases filed by 4 City Hall employees who complained that they were not paid their salaries after they were reassigned. Of course, was eventually dismissed after he was found guilty of nepotism for hiring 2 brothers-in-law as city government workers and filed a certificate of candidacy for mayor, but the Commission of Election ordered the cancellation of his COC due to the dismissal order against him. Rama has filed a petition before the Supreme Court to contest the COC cancellation. Meanwhile, COMELEC of course seeks PNP AFP help in dismantling private armies as 2025 polls nears. Amid the threat posed by private armies, the Commission on Elections is set to deputize the members of the Philippine National Police and the AFP to ensure the peaceful conduct of the 2025 midterm elections. Meanwhile, COMELEC Chairman George Garcia said in a press conference on Wednesday that they will soon formalize this through a resolution similar to the previous elections. Later on, we will issue the request and the directive to the PNP. They should be under the supervision and control of the COMELEC because they will be deputized, and including the AFP. We really have to dismantle all private armies. Private armies cannot exist at the time of the elections or even at the time of the campaign period. And I am telling this to everyone, especially to the candidates with private armed groups. The COMELEC will not hesitate to use all of the forces available, use all resources available to us, just to ensure that the voters are able to vote, that nobody is disenfranchised, and the people are not threatened or terrorized. That's coming from Garcia himself. And of course, and that wanted here that the poll body is committed to the conduct of peaceful and honest elections in last May 2025 for the next year. Following the culmination of the filing of certificates and candidacy and the nominations and acceptance on Tuesday, and he reiterated that the COMELEC won't be declaring certain places as areas of concern. According here to Garcia, he explains that minarapat na hindi maglagay ng kahit anong areas of concern sa buong Pilipinas. Ito ay sa kadalian ng magkakaroon kasi ng senaryo na masisira ang normalidad ng lugar. Tatapatan din namin, hindi lang naman ng sigasig, pero tatapatan namin din ang pwersa kung kinakailangan. And before we're going to have our ad break, here's our weather. Before we're going to continue with your entertainment and sports. From Pag-asa, northeasterly wind flows affects the extreme northern Luzon. And according here, that they said that the northeasterly surface wind flow may bring partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with isolated light rains and over Batanes and Babuyan Islands. Meanwhile, the rest of the country will also remain partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. And they warned about the public with the flash floods or landslides that also may occur during severe thunderstorms. Alright, so koolNews Primetime will return just before these announcements. We'll be back. It's now 9:13 in the evening. We'll be right back to these words. It's 9:20. Welcome back to koolNews Primetime. Continuing our news. Caloocan LGU receives new livelihood training program equipment. According here to Caloocan City's local government, they received new equipment for its livelihood training program courtesy of the DILG. According to the city government, of course, the contribution was part of the DILG's recognition to Caloocan's consistent performance in the Seal of Good Local Governance Assessment, or the SGLG. And according to them, they have received and include computer sets, welding and facial machines, gas ranges, smart TV screens, and they were handled by the Caloocan City Manpower Training Center for the livelihood courses. Meanwhile, Mayor Dale Gonzalo Along Malapitan highlighted that nearly 4,000 individuals have already secured employment through the CCMTC's programs, and added that through equipment, the trainees are expected to grow, further empowering residents with valuable skills. And according here to Mayor Malapitan, ngayon nga po ay halos 4,000 na ang nakakapagsimulang magkakapaghanap buhay dahil sa kanilang mga natutunan mula sa mga programa ng CCMTC. At mas darami na po ang bilang na ito, dulot na rin ng mga bagong kagamitan ng ating natanggap. Maraming salamat po sa DLG. Hindi lang po sa patuloy na pagkilala nyo sa Caloocan bilang isa sa mga lungsod ng buong Pilipinas na may mahusay at malinis na pamamahala, kundi pati na rin po sa inyong pagtulong ngayon sa palakasin pang aming mga programa para sa kabuhayan at kapakanan ng mga batang Kankalo. Asahan niyo po, nasa ilalim ng aming administrasyon, hindi tayo magkakapante na marami na tayong ginagawa para sa ikapabuti ng mga mamamayan, kundi mas lalo pa tayong nagsusumikap na pagandahin pa ang ating mga nagsimulan. That's coming from Mayor Malapitan. Now for entertainment, of course, ex-K-pop boyband NCT member Tail being investigated of course for kasi rape. K-pop boyband NCT and NCT 127's Moon Tae-il was being investigated for quasi rape. The female victim filed a complaint for sex crime against Tae-il with police on June 13, a day before his birthday, on 14. That's very interesting. And according here to the report, he was summoned by the police on August 28, on the same day that he announced his removal from NCT due to the allegations. And according to the agency, SM Entertainment, we have recently learned that Tae has been accused in a criminal case related to a sexual crime. While asserting the facts, we recognized the gravity of the matter and decided that he could no longer continue his team activities. After discussing it with Tae, we decided to have him leave the team. He is currently cooperating faithfully with the police investigation, and we will provide additional information as the investigation progresses. We deeply apologize for the controversy caused by our artist. And of course, they stated that our company and TAL first learned of the lawsuit in the middle of this month. TAL was investigated by the police on August 28. And the police, of course, turned over TAL's case to the prosecution on September 12. And meanwhile, here from the report from Chosun Ilbo, that of course, TAL is also investigated for quasi-rape. So it states that from Article 299 of Korea's Criminal Act states that a person who has sexual intercourse with another or commits an indecent act of another by taking advantage of the other's condition of unconsciousness or inability to resist shall be punished in accordance with the Article 297, 297-2 or 298. And The news cited that if Teil is found guilty, he will be sentenced to at least 7 years or life imprisonment. And of course, according here to SM Entertainment, it's difficult to say anything since it's an issue that is currently under investigation. And of course, our sports for tonight in Iloilo, of course, Gatsi Concepcion holds sway with 67 amid strong challenge in golf. Fidel Concepcion showcased his readiness for the bigger stage, firing a gritty 67 under challenging windy conditions to fend off a field of seasoned contenders and maintain his two-stroke lead halfway to the ICTSI in Iloilo, which is in Iloilo Golf and Country Club here on Wednesday. And according here, two Super Browns are just the beginning of the potential champion and faces a tough field of past winners. And according here to Concepcion, I have a pretty solid game plan and I'll stick to it. Which of course posted a 9 under 131 total, 2 strokes ahead of Zaniboy Gialon with 6 under 30 in the front 9 and for 64 in a 133 aggregate. Despite the looming pressure for experienced competitors, Concepcion remains undeterred as he eyes a strong performance on Thursday's moving day, seeking to edge closer to his breakthrough win in a 2.5 million peso event organized by the Pilipinas Golf Tournaments. 40 players advanced to the final 2 rounds of the third to last event in the PGT calendar, including the following: Junio Vecinisa, Francis Morilla, Ali Sinfego, Russell Bautista, Rene Menor, Mars Pukay, Gerson Balasabas, Kim Taewon, and Godofredo Sinfego. And before we're going to leave our newly renovated koolNews here at Kool Studios, here's our final quote tonight for you. And mga kalamar, here's our final quote for you. Here's an anonymous quote. Like wildflowers, you must you must allow yourself to grow in all of the places people thought you never would. That's an anonymous quote for you from our final quote tonight. Well, that is it for koolNews Primetime. It is now 9:28 and join us again tomorrow on Kool FM for more news and information. Plus, you can also send us a tip at tbh.philippines.news@gmail.com. And of course, join us again at 12 with koolNews at noon. From the newly renovated studios at Kool Studios, I am Drip Karaoke and you've been listening to Kool FM, the station that cares for you. Have a good evening, stay safe, and take care. Continuing your favorite songs right here on Kool FM. Good night and mabuhay. Mga kalabaw, oras natin is 9:30